All right, this is the African Motives Media. Once again, we are back in a big way and a greater way. This is the episode 1 of Youth Speak, a new show in town where we are going to interrogate and interact with the new and good CEOs in towns. And mark you, these CEOs or entrepreneurs are youth. So it is matters youth. With me today, I'm joined by one guy who I believe he is a CEO because he is. So karibu sana. Maybe you tell our viewers your name and more about you.
Uh, Hello everyone, my name is Dennis Ngugi, popularly known as DK. I prefer it because DK by itself is a brand. Yeah, I'm a student of Jomo Kenyatta, pursuing industrial chemistry, and yeah, I'm a CEO. I have registered 2 business names: one Kijana Mdogo Enterprises, and number 2 Suluhu Entity Providers. Suluhu Providers Entity.
Suluhu Providers Entity.
Yeah.
And maybe DK, if we go straight to it, can you tell us? We want to know, like my viewer out there or the follower of African Motives Media wants to know, or what's your journey as a youth entrepreneur and how you started your business?
Wow, that's an amazing question. The journey, of course, it's tough. Nothing is easy. If it's easy, everyone could have done it. How it started, I can relate my entrepreneurial skills. Start from from when I was being brought up. I remember when I was, if I'm not wrong, in class 3, my father bought for me some chickens. I guess they were 4 in number, and they grew up to, they became 50. I began selling the eggs. I began selling the chicken themselves. I used to brood the and hatch the chicks, and then I sell. So I can relate my beginning in the joining the business world when at a very young age. The other thing, then the interest grew more during COVID. Of course, when you talk of, I guess I'm a good example. I can talk of a blessing during this gas. Of course, COVID was a deadly disease, a very bad pandemic. It really killed many people. But at least there is something I came off with. I was still in high school. And because of the break, it was about 9 months break, and I never used to, I'm an extrovert, so I never liked being inside the house, and the only way to keep me off the compound was maybe if I was engaging with business matters, because I wouldn't visit friends because of the lockdown, and I will, at least if I was doing business, I had a reason and an excuse to give my parents, so that I moved from the house. So during COVID time, it was a time when many schools were closed, restaurants were not opening because of the social distance, and there was limited movement. So I happened to have a very good neighbor, and the neighbor, if you're listening to this, thank you. At least you gave me a base. He's a very good farmer. He's a very good farmer, and so he used to produce about 400 liters of milk, and he used to sell them in institutions like the schools, hotels. But now the schools have been closed. At least I chipped in and gave him a solution, and actually I began picking the milk and then now reselling. Remember, the people who are taking the milk and drinking the tea still need the tea. It's only that they are confined at home. So I used to collect from the farmer, and then I distribute to the various homestays, and it did well. I guess by the end of the second month, I was selling over 200 liters in a day. Over 200 liters in a day.
Wow.
And maybe just to add onto it, I began. There's a friend of mine who originates from Laikipia. and there was, because people are farming and there is limited movement, there is lockdown, there are some areas that have been put curfew where you can't come from one area to the other. So there was lots of nyanyas from tomatoes in that area. So I made plans. Okay, my father challenged me, if I've been able to sell milk, why can't I sell tomatoes? So now I decided to, on top of the milk I was selling, because milk you only sell in the morning and in the evening. So now that's how I began with the tomatoes, and I can say the journey was good. And from that COVID time, that's when I realized I guess I'm gifted in this.
Okay.
Now, so that I transitioned to the university. Now, of course, having a bit more, I was a bit more free. I was a bit more flexible. That's when I was able to venture into what I'm doing now.
Okay. Very interesting, very interesting. A good, wise words from an entrepreneur, as all of you can hear, and I'm here to attest that he's really doing great. Maybe DK, if you can tell us, how could you describe currently the business ventures or what you ventured in? What are the products and services that you are offering out there?
Wow. Yeah. I'm a staunch believer of the phrase that says you have to kiss many frogs before you get the right one. So I'm still in my formative years, so I'm kissing my frogs. That can tell you, by this I mean that I'm in various fields. Currently I'm supplying internet, the in the layman's language, Wi-Fi. I use a Wi-Fi. I have close to 100 clients so far, and I'm also in the BNB. I'm a host in the BNB area, the Airbnbs, where I link up the clients with the owner of the house, and then of course I get a commission. I also, apparently through God's grace, I was able to have a BNB, and it's situated in Thika. By the way, for bookings, watu wa Thika msilale nje.
Watu wa Thika msilale nje. Kuna BNB kule Thika, courtesy of DK.
I'm a very good host. I'll give you a house of your choice, because there are variety. Yeah, I'm also in the BNB sector. In the school, at least I have some tax shop where at least I do business and I'm able to mint some cash. And of late, I'm in the logistics area where I'm importing maize jam from Uganda, Kampala, ginger.
Nice.
Yeah, and the goal is still there. So I've so far so good. I've been able to spread the risk up to there, and yeah, that's it.
Very nice. This is one of the amazing, you can get it from DK. Unasikia biashara zinapigwa nje, kupigwa vibaya sana. Yes, maybe DK, if I just ask you the next question, what are some of the challenges you've been facing as a student to balance between the businesses and the studies?
The challenges, okay, basically time is never enough. If you will ask every entrepreneur, especially those in the stock exchange, they will tell you siku iongezewa masaa, because time is never enough. But one major lesson I came with from high school is discipline. Time discipline as a person, you try and keep time. So of course you'll have a challenge, and to be honest, I'm always behind my schedule. I plan my night. I plan my tomorrow tonight. So I know if tomorrow I wake up at this time, I'll do ABCD. From there I'll go to point D, go to point C, that way. And then by the time by the end of the day, I'll have attained, if not all, majority, just because I was able to plan properly the previous night. So I will say time is always an issue, but at least with discipline, you're able to maneuver.
Okay, with discipline you are able to maneuver. Yani ukijipanga fiti with discipline, you're good to go. That's from DK. Maybe it's getting interesting here. I'm trying to learn some of the good aspects on how you do your things, and it's really amazing. I know our viewers outside there are also gaining one or two things on how to do some of these things, and maybe you can just be a motivation kwa mtu pia mwenye anataka kuanzisha kwa biashara pale nje na mambo kama hiyo. Maybe just to ask you another question, maybe since you've been in this business, maybe what are some of the significant milestones and achievements you've made since you started your businesses?
Before I answer that, let me pose a question to you. Is success measurable?
Success is not measurable.
It's not measurable.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, with that, now I can tell you, I cannot be able to quantify the amount of success I've been able to amass for myself. But what I will say, the greatest achievement I've learned so far so good, they are the lessons that I've learned throughout when doing life. Because with the lesson, let me give you just to drift. Let me give you an instance. Have you ever been somewhere and thought of, and you've been like, nimeona hii picha wapi? Where have I seen this image? Only for you to realize you have ever dreamt of such a thing happening
Sure.
in the same exact way, in the same exact location. So what do I imply? The greatest achievement I have learned, they are the lessons. It's just like that dream that you had, and it is coming to happen. So when doing life, when doing business, of course you face challenges, and when you overcome, at least you come out with a lesson on how to overcome the challenge. So when in the next phase of doing business, at least it will be smooth. It will be a bit easier for you to transit compared to the last time, because you have the lessons. Nonetheless, I can say one milestone I'm really proud of. At least I and my friend Simon, we've been able to purchase a piece of land in Kajiado.
Oh wow!
A 10 acres block.
That's
and I can
nice.
tell you this for free. It's out of the labor that we have done in business. So if you're thinking of purchasing something, do business.
Itakuja. Very nice, very nice. Maybe there's somebody outside there watching you, maybe a youth, a campus student like you. What advice can you give them to those who want to venture into businesses? What can you tell them?
Nisema ukweli mingi ama kidogo?
Sema tu kweli so that wasikuwe na
Anyway, so the thing is, it's never easy. It's never easy at all. And since it's not easy, it requires a lot of discipline. And maybe let me give them 3 Ds, 3 letter Ds that I really work with. Number 1 is decision. You have to decide. If you're venturing into business, you must be assertive. Sio ile maji ufuata mkondo, something like that. You have to be assertive. If you say you're following a certain path, you must remain into it. The other thing is determination. You have to be determined, because challenges will always be there. Of course, it's not easy. Just as I said as we began, if it was easy, then everybody could be doing it.
Sure.
Now, what will separate you from the rest is the determination you have. And the last D I'll give them, it's discipline. Everything revolves discipline. You might be very good, you might be talented, you might be very good in business, but without discipline, hiyo pesa yote utapata na utaharibu. You won't grow. Okay. So yeah, I will tell them of the 3 Ds.
The 3 Ds. Take note of the 3 Ds, our viewers outside there. Maybe a DK tukisonga tu kwa sababu I'm seeing our time is really running. Let's talk about mentorship. How has mentorship and networking helped you in the entrepreneurial journey?
Wow. I believe without networking there is no business. So because basically business is bridging a gap between the market and the source. And for you to bridge the gap between the market and the source, basically you're networking the two. Sure. So as for me, I believe For you to be good in business, you have to be a very good networker. Create a very social. You know, when we talk of capital, capital, it's not only the resources, it's social capital. Who do you know? Who will link you up with some? I remember a time, and a special thanks to my friend Mark Young. I remember the time I was thinking of beginning the logistics job. I had a very huge issue with the customers. But at least because I'm a close ally of him, he linked me up with a clearing and forwarding company.
Very hard.
But I can say this comfortably. Without my friends, I wouldn't be where I am. I can't mention them by name because the list is long, but I can certainly tell you, without my friends, I wouldn't be where I am today.
There's a saying that says, show me your friends and I'll show you who definitely you are. Anaona hapa ikimanifest hapa with DK. Mambo iko freshi. Moving on, DK, maybe some setbacks or failures or challenges you faced in this journey. You can share some with us, and we see how you've gone through that.
Let me give the most outstanding one. When I began the business of the Airbnbs, the greatest blow was it reached a point. Of course, most landlords wouldn't accept such a unit to be their premises to be subletted to do business. So it reached a point the landlord realized I was doing business in his premises. Fortunately and also unfortunately, I had a client who had booked for two months, for whole 60 days. So it means she had put a good amount of deposit. Now, when the landlord realized, he never gave me a notice. He locked the door, and the client is inside.
Wow.
And the client, now to add salt to the injury, she was a lady. She was a lady, and of course, like you'll have the trauma of because what happened, the landlord broke my padlock and put his, because mine was quite big. So now, what if she comes and finds the padlock is changed? And being a lady, and the way they love privacy, it was a very tough case to handle. And what I can say, the greatest lesson I learned from there, it's to be agile. Just know how to just be flexible, how you'll maneuver when challenges come. So I would say that was the greatest setback, but luckily I was able to, just because of the trait I'm saying of being agile, I was able to navigate, and at least I sorted it out. That was the greatest blow.
Wow.
I would say.
Hiyo ilikuwa tricky. That was a tricky one, and it's so hard to, but you came over it na ukashinda.
Sure.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
And that's why I said the greatest achievement, the lessons I learned. It's like being agile. No one had told me of it before. Lakini vile nilipitia hiyo nini I realized I need to be agile.
Wow.
And that's how when circumstances come, at least I'm very ready to change, because at least nililearn.
That's very interesting. Be agile, my guys. Tukue agile. Mambo itakuwa sawa. Maybe tukikaribia kumalizia. What are your future ambition or your future plans? You as DK, unaona future inakaa?
Future ni bright. Inachoma.
Nahitaji specs.
Inachoma. That's why I'm wearing the cape. Anyway, there's a quote that says, those who see the invisible do the impossible.
Those who see the invisible
do the impossible.
Very.
You need to see the invisible. Let me give you an example with the pandemic COVID. Previously there were movies that were launched about a pandemic. And when you look at the countries that were involved, they were able to navigate COVID very easily. They were able to handle it with less death, the deaths, the number of deaths were a bit low compared to countries that had not planned themselves. So you have to picture, you have to, okay. Well, the reason I gave that analogy, the reason I gave that, I wanted to bring the picture of, you need to picture in front. So now in Kenya, I feel manufacturing is left behind for the old, for the aged. I want, we have we have very few manufacturers under the age of 40. And I believe there will be a niche in the near future. And that's why we are complaining of lack of employment. Because we don't have an issue with housing. Despite the government is building the affordable housing for us, it's a good thing. And at least we'll have better, we'll live in better standards. But sijawai patana na mtu amekosa mahali pa kulala because there is an issue. But we have an issue with manufacturing. And that's why even our shilling against the USD and the euro, it's depreciating because we are more of importers, we are more of consumers, and not more of solution providers. So I'm looking forward to a time where we the youth will be solution providers. And when you're a manufacturer, you'll be a solution provider, and by then we'll be exporting, and that way we will even help our economy grow. So in the near future, I'm looking forward to be the next Manu Changari.
Very nice, very nice. So I was coming there. Who is your role model?
I have several. I have, you pick several traits. You can find someone who's perfectly what you want.
Sure.
So you'll have to pick one from here, one from here. In our age bracket, I really admire Caliph Cairo. Caliph Cairo is a CEO of Tai and Car. He has a kayak at 26. He has a kayak driving a Porsche. I guess Cayenne was approximately 10M at only 26. This guy he has begun becoming a broker for jets just at the age of 26.
Wow.
So this guy, I love his vision. I love the way he's seen the impossible. He's seen the invisible rather, and that's why he's doing things
the impossible.
Yeah, sure. And also I look for in the manufacturing industry. I look forward to becoming Humphrey Karaoke. Humphrey Karaoke is the CEO of Wow Beverages, situated in Thika. I really love the guy, and currently he's in the tourism field, but he has really dominated in the manufacturing field. So those are my two major role models.
Very nice, very nice. It has been a great time, and before I leave you, DK, I'll ask you to give us your parting shot, your last words as we come to the end of the show. Ukiangalia tu pale kwenye kamera.
Haya ni sawa. As we end, I want to encourage everyone, both the youth, the aged. Of course, I know from the interview you learn something. What I will say, it's never easy, but with God, and you give everything, every effort, every single bit of yourself. My greatest motivational speaker is called Eric Thomas. There's a clip he has made about you owe yourself. That success you're looking forward to, you owe yourself. You owe like everything. Why you giving yourself? Why you doing 80%? Yet you can do 100, and yet when you give 100, the results will be better. So you owe yourself. And maybe the last thing I will say, just to quote the words of Martin Luther King Jr. When you let them say they are lived as a sweeper because of the good work of sweeping you did. If you're tasked with anything, if you believe you can do anything, like you can venture into a certain business, give your all. Just as that sweeper, whom the city says that they lived as sweeper who used to sweep this city clean. Then do the business to your level best, so that at least you'll write your story well, that people may wish to read it.
So that you may write your story well, and people will wish to read it. So this is the African Motives Media. This is the Youth Speak segment, and turn it on. We are going to do it big, great, and better. I've been your host, Papa Graham, and let's meet in the next episode of Youth Speak. Remember, African Motives Media, we got you covered.